What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Fair Shake Podcast. I'm your host, Felipe Savage, and with me, as always, is my incredible lineup of co-hosts. But wait, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to not the one, but the only, the Fat Beast. Fats, introduce yourself.
Yeah. What it do, everyone? This is your boy Fats, aka the Beast. The reason why they call me the Beast is because I'm a beast in everything I do. Whether it's games, cooking, it don't matter. Also, I got beast-like features, so that's another reason. I can't tell you how glad I am to be on here. It's like being called up to the majors. Now I'm gonna pass it up to the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only Chris.
Yo, what up? It's your boy Chris, aka Killer Ghost. Best Call of Duty player in this lobby. Just kidding.
Never gonna change.
Nah.
Definitely
Hope you guys
better than
enjoy
me.
this. Hope you guys enjoy this episode. I'll pass it over to my next co-host.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Keeve. I'm back. I could have went pro if I would have kept playing Call of Duty, but I took a long retirement. I'm gonna pass it to my man's bro.
Hi, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Daddy, aka Darry, aka Pro Daddy. This is gonna be a fun-filled show. We welcome Fats the Beast. He's gonna be our fifth and final co-host of the Fair Shake podcast. Now on to the show.
Oh man, well said, guys, and again, welcome, Beast, welcome, Fats. Guys,
Thank you.
let's jump right into it. You know, it being Fats first podcast. Let's get right into it. I wanna know, Kev. You know, let the viewers first know why you were out last episode, because I'm hearing a lot of
But wait, before that, why don't we just hear a little bit about Fats before we start? You know,
true.
he
Let's do
wasn't
it.
here three
Let's do it.
episodes. Fats, you got the floor. I want to
Yeah,
know
Fats,
about you.
take it away.
Why are you the Beast?
There's many reasons. As I said earlier, I'm a beast at everything I do. Got
Give me
beast-like features. I'm very
off the
rugged.
top.
I'm
Off the top, one thing that separates you from everyone else.
There's something that separates me. I'm just me. I'm just that person. Like you see me walk into a room and be like, yo, son, better stay clear from that dude. Better not play with him.
Yeah,
I am not to be messed with.
this
Yeah,
is true.
I've gotten tackled by him once, so this is a true fact.
Yeah, I remember when I said I got put through a couple beds.
Wow. Oh man,
I'm the man of destruction.
I love it. Honestly, I love it. Fats, it's an honor to have you
It's a blessing.
officially.
Sure.
It's a blessing being here.
Nah, yes, man. It's a blessing being here with you as well. You know.
I'm gonna
But
get
guys,
Appreciate it.
a Fair Shake tattoo with Fats drinking it, like chugging it, like Popeye
man.
does the cans of spinach.
Oh man, this is gonna be a great show, guys, viewers, listeners. First off, this is gonna be the best show so far, and I'm not saying that just because Fats is here. But before we do get into it, I know we said we was gonna just jump straight in. I just want to say something to the viewers and the listeners out there. I want to thank you guys. You guys, without you, you know, your support, this wouldn't be possible. But thank you, we appreciate that. But guys, let's get in. We only got so much time. Let's just jump right in. Let's get Fats. Let's get his feet wet right now. But yeah, Kev, about your absence,
Hiatus.
your hiatus.
I think that's stretching it. Hiatus is way more than your absence.
It felt like it.
He was gone for a year.
Yeah. So the whole thing that happened with me was, I was having excruciating pain from like one of my teeth. Turns out I had to go to like an orthodontist and then seek professional guidance on which one like I needed to take out or whatever. I had an extra molar It was
Yeah.
causing
Yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah.
It was
Oh.
causing me excruciating pain. So I had to go to the dentist. I had to go to the oral surgeon. You can't go to a regular dentist.
Right.
So I had to go to him, and yeah, I had to get one of my molars taken out. They asked me if I
So it
wanted to
wasn't
be.
a wisdom tooth, right?
It was not a. I didn't have to get any of my wisdom tooth removed.
Okay. Okay.
They all came in perfectly fine. Um, so talking to the doctor, right? To the surgeon, and
Yeah.
he's like, do you want like regular anesthesia? Like, do you just want the needle? I was like, nah, put me out, right?
I
I
know.
was like, I
Oh man.
cannot deal with this. I was like, put me out. They gave me the IV, so he puts the IV in me, and he gives me like 3 or 4 like shots. I was like, oh yeah, it's late. I'm about to be out. So he's talking to me and he's like, "Oh, you should start feeling it." I was like, "Yeah, bro." I put my head back and I can't. I zoned. I don't remember what happened next.
You were
But
gone.
during the procedure, I had waken up and it was the most horrible
No
thing in the
way.
Oh my
world.
god.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it was. I was in more pain than what I was. I was literally sitting there with him, like doing surgery in my mouth. I started. It was. I was
Elbow
in
deep.
so much. I was in so much pain, bro, that I like started shaking. And they asking me like if I experienced like seizures and shit, bro.
Oh wow.
Did
Yeah.
you
Oh.
make eye contact with him? Like the way
Yeah,
like
bro.
those
I was like,
barbershop
yo,
memes are, like when they're getting haircuts and the guy's looking directly at the guy's eyes.
bro. Bro, he was elbow deep. Pause.
Yo.
Hey.
He was like taking my fucking tooth out, and I was in so much pain, bro. And they couldn't give me anything because they thought like I was gonna like catch a seizure or some shit.
God
But
bless.
I just wanted to know like, have y'all experienced any like bad like experiences like at a dentist or at a hospital or anything like that?
I got a couple stories.
Let's hear him. Let's hear him.
This, well, let me share one, like the most recent. For the viewers out there, don't know ages, I'm gonna keep it PG. Basically, what I went to the hospital for is to get my top taken off. So,
You got the ceiling missing now.
yeah, I got the convertible. Um, it was all fun. It was all good. I was happy I was getting it. You know, the doctor said it was more practical that he wouldn't put me to sleep. So I was like, all right, whatever. I didn't think it was gonna be bad or whatever. Day of 6 o'clock in the morning, straight to the surgery room. Uh, he went to put anesthesia in the area to numb it. It took about 3 shots, and I still felt. And instead of him waiting, the dude says, "All right, let's just go in. Let's just do this." So
no.
when he came, I don't know if you ever seen the surgery or whatever, or heard how it
I've never
goes.
seen it.
They
Nah.
take these metal clamps and they put it in into a little hole, and then they expand it,
Oh
Oof.
my god.
right? So anesthesia wasn't working yet, mind you. It kicked in. Once that happened, I felt all that pain.
Oh my goodness.
Tears started running down my eyes. I started screaming. Like, I'm a big dude. So imagine me laying on the bed and that happening and me screaming, basically like a little bitch. I was ready to get off the table and snuff the doctor. So he had to take the clamps off and put 2 more shots of anesthesia.
That's 5 shots. Holy.
5 shots. Then, you know, while he was doing his thing, you can hear it, snipping. You ever cut into a piece of cardboard for the first time with a brand new pair of scissors?
Oh my
God.
goodness.
That's exactly how it sounded like.
Nah,
Then,
you would have to put me to sleep for that.
then
Nah,
on
100%.
at the end,
Wouldn't lie.
at the end, while he was putting the stitches, I started feeling the stitches again. So the anesthesia was wearing off already. Mind you, the procedure didn't even take 20 minutes. So I'm like, what the hell?
Felt like a lifetime though, right?
It felt like forever. Then the nurse was like the nicest person ever, though. That was probably the best part of the surgery. She's there, caressing my hair like it's gonna be okay, asking me questions. I'm like, you such a nice lady. So
With tears coming down.
with tears coming down.
Oh wow.
In my mind, I'm like, you probably got it too.
Oh my God.
So
That's
Oh man.
that was probably the worst.
I'll share one, but mine's is not. Mine's is part of like yours and Keith, so it is in the realm of doctors. So you know how like once a year when you go get a physical, they make you do the drop your pants, cough.
Uh-huh.
They cup your
So,
shit.
Yeah, so this is
They
my
molest
thing,
you.
right? Yeah, this is my thing. I'm like, if I go in little soft, I'm gonna be like, I can't have it, right? This is a
Oh,
true story,
God.
right? I'm like, I can't have it like that. So I come out, I give it a little rub through the jeans, and it's starting to peak. So I'm like, I could work with this. It's not.
Mid
I don't
chub.
look like a pervert,
He's
but at least I
mid
got
chub.
something I'm working with, right? So the thing is, I've known my doctor since I was little. So she was my pediatrician first, and now she's like my adult doctor, and I love her to death. But she on the guilt side. She looking kind of wavy, right?
Okay.
So the thing is, by law, medical law, a female doctor can't check you on her own. Someone else has to be in the room present at the time,
Yeah.
right? And I'm just like, yeah, I got this. I got the chub coming in. Right? I'm good. She about to check me. Before I start unzipping my pants, and I'm like, I get like halfway to my knees with my pants, and I got my underwears, right? And then she goes, wait, Darry, I gotta go get the nurse, and I'm like, all right, cool, get a nurse, I'm fine, more people to see. And she comes in first. My doctor comes in first, and then this fucking troll lady comes in right after. You guys ever seen the movie Trolls?
Yeah.
Bruh, she looked like the monsters that eat the trolls, right?
Oh wow.
Right? That's what she looked like. And she comes out and she's like, all right, you can start the procedure now. And I'm just like, oh hell no. You
Mike
actually sound like
Wazowski.
that? Bro, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, she actually sounds like that? And the thing is, I can't stand this nurse because she's like one of those like get on the scale, check your blood, and like you don't got time to like think. You nervous from her checking you, so your blood pressure is like 1,000 over 1,000. So it's looking like you dying from from a heart attack. So literally, remember the chub that I was working up to just started going, wee, and then my doctor cuffs my balls. She starts like, all right, go to the left, cough, go to the right, cough. And I'm just like, I go to the left, I cough, then I go to the swing over to the right, and I make eye contact with this fucking troll lady. And I was like, yo, I can't. And then as soon as she was done, bro, I was like, vroom, I sat down and like all those scenarios that could have happened, like, oh, you watch porn, you fucking the doctor, she just starts fucking you and shit. I'm like out the window. I was like,
Those things will never happen in real life.
so I just let
Okay.
it go. That's my story.
How about you, Chris? You got anything?
Mine isn't as funny as these guys. Mine's is just couple years back. The worst thing I've ever had is kidney stones.
My goodness.
Oh,
They said it was like when I first got it, I thought it was like gas because it feels like a stabbing pain. It's like a stabbing pain like in your side.
right.
First I thought it was gas, so I'm putting a heating pad on it, like thinking I'm gonna just fart
That
this
was
out or
catching his
whatever.
period.
Yeah, for
Bloated.
real. Like that's what I thought. And then
Chris was bloated.
it lasted for like a couple days. The feeling would leave and come back, and I'm like, yo, I gotta go to the doctor. So my mom took me, and come to find out, yeah, it was that I had kidney stones. They said it was calcium buildup,
Right.
and all they did was they told me like drink a lot of water. They gave me like pain meds. I didn't stay overnight or anything.
Right.
Then like maybe a week later, I go to pee, and this is like the weirdest feeling, like because you always have either piss or some other kind of liquid coming out of there,
Right.
but not a freaking little pebble that you'll find on the floor. That's what came out.
That sounds so.
And it
painful.
just hits the. It's not painful at all. It just feels weird. It hits the
Jeez.
toilet. I'm like, what the hell is this? And they wanted me to like put it in like a
Wow.
little thing and take it to them,
Bugging.
like so they, I guess, examine. I mean, I took it out as my piss, you know. I just washed my hands after, and that was it. Like that's the most painful thing I've ever been through. I never had surgery
My man
or
was
broke
skipping stones in
anything.
the toilet.
Yeah,
How many
basically,
hops you could get?
basically. At least it was one little one. At
That's
least it was one
wild.
little one, but
Yeah.
one little stone. It felt like, bro. It felt like somebody stabbing you over and over inside.
Oof.
I wouldn't want
Worst
that
pain ever I've ever
I
had.
mean, my story is a dentist story, of course.
The worst.
And oh man, it was bad. It was more bad because one, my dentist was Spanish, and me, I'm Spanish and all, but I don't know a word of it. So
Nene, te tiene que cepillar.
listen, like I'm there and I gotta get 2 teeth taken out. I had to get the 2 back ones. Don't know what they're called. I'm not a dentist. But I had to get them both taken out. And as I'm sitting there, they're prepping me. They're doing the needles, like Kev said, right? Because I can't go to sleep. I will think that I'm gonna never wake up. I'm that paranoid, Pete. And all I know is the guy is starting to like put his tools there, and I see like pliers. I'm like, my man, you're not fixing a door hinge. Like this is a tooth, dude. Like chill. And he's like, in Spanish, he's trying to tell me that, oh, that's like last resort, because the lady was like, uh um translating for him, the nurse. She was like, oh, that's last resort. I'm like, okay, you know what? Probably not that bad. All I know is that dude was like working on me, putting those cotton balls here and there. I'm like, fine, whatever. I close my eyes because at this point I'm like, man, I'm in so much pain already. You know what is he gonna do? He finishes the shots, and the first thing he picks up is the pliers. I'm like, what happened to last resort? Yo, chill.
got him.
Yeah,
Got
right.
his
So
ass.
I look at him. I look at him straight in the eyes while he got this plier in my mouth, right? And I'm looking at him straight in his eyes, and he's basically in so many words. The lady's like, he's telling the lady, but isn't this guy big? I'm like, what is me being big mean? I have no emotions, like no feelings, like, and he's just like, oh, but you can handle it, right? You can handle it. No, I can't. And I'm looking at this guy, and I'm like, yo, man, if I get up right now and I just punch this guy in his face, I'm finna go to jail. Is that worth it? Ultimately, I said, nah, I'm too scared of jail, so let keep going. You know, so it
They would have
finishes
definitely
and
took
all.
out your teeth in jail.
Dude, this dude finishes and he's like, "Oh, you okay to go home?" I'm like, "Yeah, my outside." Oh, I go out and everything, and I know for a fact that I was just bleeding uncontrollably out of my gums to the point where every time I drooled, it was blood. And I'm again paranoid Pete. So for like a whole week after, I couldn't eat anything solid. And then I would look inside my mouth and see 2 huge holes. And I'm just there like, man, I'm pretty sure he was supposed to sew these shut. But he was like, he was really pushing for me to get out. And I was just like, dang, man. I just wish like these people that say that, you know, that this is their job, and they take those oaths and all that. Like, man, sometimes these people, like, they just want to get you done and over with. Like, if you just, oh, okay, you know what, he can handle it.
My man gave the doctor the fair shake. Maybe he
Nah,
had.
Nah,
I
they
gave him a
did
fair
something.
shake. I gave him
I
a fair
think-
shake.
I think we need a doctor on the podcast. Dr. Phil, come on the podcast.
100%.
Well, matter of fact-
to ask you, Felipe.
Matter of fact, Dr.
How many
Pepper,
drugs
come
do
on
you
the
do?
podcast.
Dr. Pepper.
Yeah,
Oh my
but
God.
that's
You call yourself Mad Bobby?
Well, the first thing you have to do is
No, but
Yeah.
yeah, guys, that's my story. It's just a simple story of me going through what felt like hell. Um, but guys, with that being said, have you ever had like a scenario at work or a work related story? Like because me personally, I had I used to work at a bagel shop. Yeah, and I would bake these bagels at like 5:30 in the morning. And I remember like my uncle was the manager, the general manager, and he comes to the front door. A guy comes behind them. I'm baking bagels. The guy goes behind the counter, grabs a bagel, and leaves $1 on the counter. Says, "You guys are taking too long." I'm like, dude,
Wow.
we don't even open until like 6:30.
My man stole and then paid for
Why?
it.
And then if you gonna rob us, don't leave money there. You know what I mean? Like, but he really tried to play it. Like walking out the door, me and my uncle are just looking at each other like, did he just leave $1 there after taking that bagel?
Like,
Mind you, this was like 42nd Street, Manhattan. So that bagel was $1.49. So he didn't even pay the whole amount. This guy walked out of there and
Damn,
just
that's
paid
cheap.
paid
For
what he
40
wanted to pay,
seconds.
and he just bolted out the door. Like, and then he literally, as he's running towards the door, he's like, "You guys are taking too long." I'm like, "Okay, you know what? We let him. We end up letting him go. It's a bagel." But does anybody else have a story?
I got a couple of those.
Let's hear him. Let's hear. Does
Um,
anybody else have a story?
by all means, the story that I'm about to tell has nothing to do with the job that I have now. And I'm not.
This is a quick disclaimer,
mean,
guys.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with where I work now. I love where I work. I love the kids, the job that I have now. So, when I first started working with kids, I started working in the after school program, Kips Bay, and first year you're like, let's go all out. So Christmas comes around the corner, and I have my own classroom, so I have about 20, 25 kids. So me and my partner go when we get paid the 2 weeks before Christmas. We go out to Toys R Us, and we go and we splurge and buy a gift for every single kid in our
Oh, that's
class.
nice.
Right? Mind you, there are kids. At the time, I'm young, so I don't know how to deal with every single scenario, every single kid. When they got IEPs and stuff like that.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
So there was one little girl. She was, I'm gonna say off the meds. Um, she would just bug out, and I told her, look, we bought you a gift, but you're not going to celebrate. You're not gonna open your gift until you get home. That was it. But she still got a gift, mind you. At the time, she got one of the Monster High dolls, which at the time were like $25-$30, and when her mother came to pick her up, her mother was tight and whatever, and made a big show. And my boss comes to me, yo, this lady's already tight, so just take in whatever she says, and then that's it. So I go into the room. She slams the door on my arm, like she's yelling at
This
me.
is the little girl.
No, the little girl's mom.
Oh wow, what the hell?
So she slams the door on my arm. She starts yelling at me, threatening to, "Oh, I'll blow this shit up. You don't know who I am."
Yo, what?
Mind you, this is my first time working with kids. This is something that I've always wanted to do, and it's something that I'm good at. So I'm like, I didn't say nothing because my boss is right there. Because I just really wanted to spaz. So from the kindness of my heart, I bought your daughter a gift, and how you repay me is you curse me out in front of my boss and make me look like a sucker.
Yeah, that's the worst.
So, going forward, working with kids, that's probably like the worst thing that's ever happened to me. And even with the kids that I work, like, dealing with some of the parents, and I love all these kids, all 300 of them. But that's one story I will never forget. And then, going forward, that's how I improved myself working with.
Um, let me see. For me, I have a millions of stories because I've basically worked my whole life. But there's one I want to point out on, and it's more like a coworker thing, right?
Yeah.
So I started off, you always start bottom up, and I made it to the top. Not the tippity top, but damn near close to it.
King of the castle.
And
King of
I've
the castle.
always gave people the benefit of the doubt. So it didn't matter if you came in with 100 tattoos and a piercing on your nose. It didn't matter if you came in and you said that's not part of your life is not what dictates what happens at the business, right? But there was this one guy that we hired that he was like off the shits, right? So we had hired him as a porter, a cleaner, basically. So my brother, he used to do baking downstairs, like yourself, at a bagel shop as well. So he came out and he tells like, "Oh, Daddy, can you do me a favor? Can you tell him to clean this stuff?" Blah blah blah. So I'm like, I go to the guy. I'm like, "Yo, you gotta clean this." So he's like, "Yeah, all right." First off, this guy was Puerto Rican, but he played off like he was Mexican, right? Like a cholo.
Right.
This guy had tattoos from his wrist up to his like neck, different stuff. He had like I think a mud kip from Pokemon, like on his right hand or something. I can't really remember. But he was cool. He was decent. He was a good guy. So I'm like, yo, I need you to go downstairs, clean such and such. So he's like, yeah, no problem, no problem. So I see him downstairs, right? Guy has, the steel Brillo, like the steel Brillo, not the regular Brillo that has like the
Oh,
soap
the
piece on it.
heavy duty one?
Yes, that, right? My
No.
man had the bucket filled up with Clorox and ammonia, right?
Oh no.
And he has his hands in the bucket and he's cleaning the stuff. And I'm like, yo, like, that's dangerous, right? Like, that's your hand. He's like, nah, it's getting it cleaned. Bro, you ever seen the Pinky and the Brain? You see
Yeah.
his hands is like
They
his like
pink.
raw flesh. Legit, that was his hands. I'm like, no, there's no way that this doesn't hurt this guy,
No, yo,
right?
that's insane.
So later on in the day, um, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna need you to pull this stuff out, clean back here, right? And that'll be the end of that. So he's like, "Oh yeah, cool. I'll do it." So he goes upstairs, he pulls out the whole rack, he gets the vacuum, and something gets stuck behind the when the vacuum was sucking up whatever it was, something gets stuck in there. So homeboy takes it out, puts it up to his mouth, the pole, right? Not the hose part, but the pole that connects to the hose,
Yeah.
and he starts blowing into it to push out whatever's inside.
Oh,
And in my head, I'm like, this can't be real. This is unreal,
no way.
right? So I'm like, yo, that goes on the floor. He goes, nah, I clean my mouth afterwards. So
What?
I'm like, you're
Whoa.
gonna be having to clean a lot more than that afterwards. So
This
he
was his
comes to
first
me.
day. My
This was
fault
his
for
bro. This was his first day,
what an
right?
Dude.
impression.
So he comes, right? And he's like, yo, Darry. And again, he's not a cholo, but he acts like he's a cholo. He's like, yo, Darry. I'm like, yeah. He goes, can I take a break now? I'm like, yeah, go ahead, take your break. He's like, how many minutes? I'm like, it's 30 minutes, it's on the clock. So I'm not gonna bother you, but don't abuse it. So he's like, all right, cool. So I go to the back, right? Because we had like a lounge area where you could just hang out or whatnot. But back there, we had the fly things that catches the flies, like just in case, so it doesn't look nasty and stuff.
Right.
Homeboy takes, I couldn't make this up. If I'm lying, I'm dying. We had these fly things that, not the sticky ones, but they were like this bag that the flies fly in through the inside and then that's trapped in there, right?
Right.
Our previous porter didn't change them at all, right? So that's the reason why we had this new guy, because we had to fire the first guy for not doing his job. Now, when you go to a kid's party, they have like the piñatas,
Hmm.
right? Homeboy is smoking a cigarette and he looks at it and he's like, yo, what's that? I'm like, that catches the flies. That's all that black stuff is just flies. So, when you go to the hospital now, that you look at the IV bag, excuse me, that is filled with the liquid or whatnot,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's literally filled with flies like that.
Oh.
Homeboy takes a stick like a piñata, is flicking at it, right, while smoking a cigarette. And you ever notice like there's something weird about like people who smoke cigarettes that are not normal. Like they hold cigarettes in a certain way where it doesn't ever
Oh.
fall out their mouth.
That's the
Mhm.
Right?
yeah.
Homeboy takes and he starts swatting it with his hands, right? And he hits it, and that whole thing ruptures. Bro, the most nastiest
Oh.
thing, like a bunch of flies, dead flies just start pouring out, right?
Oh
Not to
no.
mention that there was liquid. And after that, I was like, bro, you just gotta go home. Like, I don't know what to tell you. You like go home. Like, why would you do that? He's like, nah, I wanted to see what it was. I'm like, I told you what it was.
No.
So then he ended up calling me like as he was leaving. He's like, oh, I really need the job, blah blah blah. I was like, go ahead. You think all them weird ass escapades stopped? No, they continued.
Dude, what in the world? But like my thing is that if once he knew it's flies, why did he make the attempt to swat it with his hand if he
But
still had
I'm mad
the
at myself because I
like
think because I was there standing, right?
yeah.
You watched them.
I think because I watched him, he was like, "Oh wow, gee, Willikers, somebody's paying attention to me."
Oh man, here's
So,
Mickey Mouse like our
so
six toast.
you know. But yeah, I'm gonna swing this one to Keeve. I want to hear Keeve talk.
Kev, you got a story for us? You got to,
I think
man.
he's having technical
Oh,
difficulties.
I'm sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. We're having technical difficulties on Kev's mic right now, but we'll just keep it on going.
I'll go.
Chris,
I'll go. Yeah.
what do you have for us?
Well, all my crazy stories are from one place, which is Burger King. When I was working there,
The mayonnaise.
Fast food.
fast food is the worst. Is true what they say is the worst. But there's a couple stories. Like there'll be this one guy who'll come. I used to do the night shift. I used to be the closing manager, so it'll be what 3 to 11, 4 to 12, like that.
Right.
So there'll be this guy. He'll always come every night. He'll ask for a Whopper or whatever with extra pickles, and we will always put. It's usually 4 like little pieces of pickles or whatever. We'll put like 6, maybe 7, whatever. And he always complained that it wasn't enough. So one time, I told the guy who was making it. We know him. His name is Yoshi. I told him, "Yo, get out! I'm gonna do it this time." So I'm taking his order and doing the sandwich. He's like, extra pickles this time. I'm like, yeah, I got you. Don't worry. This time I got you, bro. I took a handful. Like I took my whole hand into the pickle thing, put it on the bun, and closed it. And we gave it to him. Let's just say he never came back to that Burger King.
No way.
Never came back, bro.
He was like, "Do you remember that episode of SpongeBob? The guy that put the pickle under his tongue, and the whole episode he spent telling SpongeBob that he never put the pickle in it."
Oh yeah, I remember that episode.
That's what he
And
helped.
SpongeBob going crazy like I never
There's-
messed with order.
I have another one too.
Yeah, keep it going, man.
I think it was summertime. We had I think they had the Whoppers buy one get one for like a penny, something like that, something crazy. And then they also had on the same like weekend, I think the fries were free, like a free small fry or something. Bro, when I tell you I was there like all day, and I think I almost caught a heat stroke or whatever. Like I almost fainted, bro. That's how crazy it was. And it was the one right there by 3rd Avenue. I don't know if you guys ever been to that Burger King, but it's mad ratchet. It's mad ratchet, bro. So that was one of the worst summers too.
You put mayonnaise on my burger again.
Oh, that one too. I remember. That's the best. Some African American lady, right? She's like, "Oh, don't put. This was when I first started. She was like, don't put no mayo on my sandwich, right? And this is when my cousin worked there. He got me in the job.
You.
So she's like, don't put no mayo. So they put no mayo, whatever. And my cousin, being a dick that he is, he still puts mayo. And they give it to her. And I guess she bit it and she like threw it or whatever, something. And she's African American. She starts trying to talk Spanish. She's like, puñera. Don't put. I said, no mayo on my sandwich, puñera.
That's wild.
She sees that we all Spanish. Yo, me and my cousin in the back laughing, bro. That was the best story.
That's crazy.
I think Keith is back now.
Yeah.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
Copy.
Puñetas.
Alright, my fault. Sorry about that, gentlemen.
Yeah,
Copy.
no problem, man.
So,
Anytime, man.
I work in retail. I work in a sneaker store. I'm actually a manager in a sneaker store. So the bullshit that I go through day in and day out, it's like some of y'all would not believe it. I had this one guy come in not so long ago. So the first thing he says he asks me and my manager if a card is a credit card. So me and my manager, we both act the same. We both like from the same hood. So we both like sarcastic dickheads, but we're really good at what we do. Like if you come in and like our customer service is exceptional. We take care of you, make you laugh or whatever. But if you come in with like an attitude, we just gonna, try our best or whatever. So this guy comes in, he reeks of liquor, he's with his child, some little kid. So he comes in, he asks us like, is this a credit card? So I look at it and I just give him the answer like, yeah. But I have the same card that he's showing us. It's a Chase debit card, regular Chase debit, which you can write as credit. So he goes, all right, whatever. He's with his kid. He's trying to get his kid some sneakers, and he asks me for a shoe for his son, and he's like, can I get these in like a 4.5 or 5? And I'm like, sure. Like his kid picks out a sneaker, and he's like, oh, can I get these in like his size? So I was like, okay, go to the back or whatever. So I go to the back looking for the shoe. We don't have his size, so I come out. Hey gentlemen, like we don't have his size or whatever. What I can do is I can locate it for you, or I can order for you if these are the sneakers that you want. And he looks at the shoe and he's like nah, those is trash. I'm like, this is what your son picked out. So you're getting upset at me, like, but your son picked this out. So he was like, do you not have anything in the back, like his size? And like I said, I'm sarcastic and I'm a dickhead. And if you come out crazy to me, I'm just gonna egg you on, so you could just be more upset. So
I mean, to your point, that real quick, the customer's not always right.
That's not true. If you ever work in customer service, you know that the customer is always right is bullshit. So he's like, you don't have anything in that size? So I was like, anything? Because I could go to the back and bring out everything. So he's like, nah, like what you would put on what would you put on your son? I'm like, first of all, I don't have a kid, so I don't have to think about these issues. Like, you're going through this, bro. It's not me. I'm the sneaker man, bro. You're arguing with the sneaker man. So I bring out a pair of sneakers, some J's that we had just got in or whatever. I was like, yo, listen, like these just came out. I wouldn't put them on my kid, but they're pretty cool.
The kid that you don't have.
Yeah, I would have put them on the kid that I don't have, but so he's like, all right, whatever. He starts getting some stuff for him. He's copping out, whatever. The thing is, like, if you come to my store, like, I know a scammer when I see one. So if you come into my store and try to scam, make sure that your pieces is hitting, because they're not hitting. You're not walking out with anything. So he goes and he tries to like pay for it. I'm ringing him up or whatever. And he's like, why is this card asking me for a PIN if it's a credit card? I'm like, first of all, it's a debit card. It says it right here. It says debit on the card. but you can't. If you read right here on this pin pad, it's you press X for credit. So you could just press the X and it'll run as credit. So, um, he's like, but it's a credit card. I'm like, it's not. So he goes runs it as credit. Obviously, comes back decline, and he's like, oh, but like, what's wrong with your system? Like, first of all, there's nothing wrong with my system. My system works perfectly every day. So if anything is you, if you want, you could call your card company and figure it out with them, because my reader's been working perfectly fine, and just because you try to buy something it's declined, no. So he's getting aggravated. Like, listen, if you want to try it again, you could try it again or whatever. So he tried again, decline. So he's like, all right, whatever, I'm gonna come back.
Wait, how many
Bro, I don't
chances
care,
He's
did you
bro.
giving
give
him the fish shake.
Bro, I gave him the fair shake, bro.
He's giving
If
him
you
the
come with a
ultra
card,
fair
bro,
shake.
and first of all, in my store we're not
Yeah.
allowed to check for ID. So if you come with a card and it hits, then it hits.
Right.
You know, whoever's card it is, they have to go through like the police department, whatever the case is. They come to investigate. It's not my problem. I work for a corporate company, so yeah, I don't check for ID. If the card hits, it hits. You can try as many times as you want. If it just comes back declined, I'm just like, yo, listen, like, you could go like call your bank. Obviously he's not gonna call his bank. It's not.
He was trying to rub it like a magic lamp.
Yeah, he rubbed it on his jeans. Yeah.
He started rubbing it on his pants.
So,
yeah, this is gonna work
so
this time.
any
Yeah.
Trying to
Man.
blow it like a
for any
cartridge.
scammer,
Yeah.
they hit you with the magic words like, I'm gonna go take the cash out. I'll be back, and they never come back, bro. Don't ever listen to them. They never
know,
coming
he-
back.
Oh my god.
Keep hit me with a great idea that Fats like just implanted in my head like a seed. Cartridges. What was the games that got you into gaming?
Ooh,
Uh,
very good
that's,
one.
That's a good one.
Let's
That's
hear
a
from
good
the
one.
cap first. Where's the cap at? Someone get this man a shield.
First off, nah. I was gonna say, there is one customer that's always right, and that's the fair shake customers. You feel me?
Oh, okay.
Hey,
Cap.
true.
All right.
Fair shake customer.
Anyways, games that got me into gaming. My first system that I ever played was the original NES. I used to play like Contra, the Mario, of course, the first Mario game, the Zelda, the gold
classics.
cartridge. I don't know if you remember
Yeah,
that.
yep.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
There was this baseball game too. That's how you know I always love baseball. It was like, if you play it now, it's so bad, but I used to be hooked on
games like that. Like there were like 2 pixels of one player on the field, and like you would hit the ball and everybody
they
moves
were-
together in that direction. Yeah.
Nah, I don't know if you ever you ever played it and you hit the ball and it shows the ball in the end. It's like, and it makes like a little noise.
Oh yeah.
That was like that was my first system. Then, but what really got me into gaming was the like Super Nintendo. I don't know if you guys ever played like the side-scrolling beat 'em up
Yep.
games, like the Ninja Turtle
Yep.
games, the
Pretty
Power
good.
Rangers.
Double Dragon.
I think they, they had. I think they had X-Men too. Like they had a bunch of those kind of games. Obviously those, and the when I got my Game Boy, of course, with Pokemon Blue. That was like,
Throwback.
ever since then it was
If
like,
you ain't start with a water type, don't talk to me.
yeah,
Fire
Blastoise,
all
of
day.
course, bro.
Fire type.
Blastoise.
Definitely.
But yeah,
There we go.
nothing better than that. You used to have to like, because there was no internet really back then. Like, you had to
Yeah.
really like, somebody had to do something before you. Like that first cave you go through in Pokemon that you need a flash or whatever. I did not. I was like,
yeah.
to go through this cave and it's dark. It's completely dark. Like, how am I supposed to
Fun
do
fact:
this?
I made it through that cave without flash, and it took me
Wow.
like 3 weeks.
of course.
That's insane.
Wow.
He had 9
He played on hard
cheaters.
mode.
Till this day, I still hear the Zubats in my ear.
Oh no.
But yeah,
Oh,
those were the games that got me into gaming.
Oh man, that's awesome though. Me personally, I like, of course, other games like Halo 3 got me into like the competitive gaming. But what got me into gaming was honestly, I remember Pro was playing this game about this squirrel, right? And I'm like, man, this game looks so fun. And I remember, man, and Pro was he was the type of older brother. He would
That was
literally
me.
unplug your controller and say, "Yeah, yeah, you playing,"
That's
you
every
know.
older brother.
So I'm, and I'm like,
That's a fact.
hey, I'm not moving. Like I'm not moving. I don't got a character. There's only one character on the screen, and Pro has the controller in his hand. I have a controller in my hand, but there's only one character. And all I know is he starts like playing
I
capture the
think he's talking
flag.
about
What seemed like
Conker's
capture the
Bad Fur
flag.
Day for the 64.
Oh,
Oh
Conker's
my
Bad Fur
god, bro.
Day. That is what it
I love
Into
was.
the
that
Vortex,
game.
But
my
that
favorite
game was
mission. That's the end game.
I love that game.
that game was so fun. Yeah, when I actually finally got to play because my mom put Pro in the chokehold. Once I finally got to play, man, I think I would have to say that's like my first actual moment of playing video games and saying, wow, I really enjoy video games. Was Conker's Bad Fur Day. And more though, like I remember playing like I don't know, was it like 4-player co-op
They
or
had
something like that?
4-player
Or
online,
4-player
yeah.
split screen? Like, dude, that was
Team
that was
deathmatch
so
stuff.
fun. I remember playing just nonstop, like for hours. We used to play that game for hours.
You ever put the
honestly, but
sorry to cut you off. You ever put the teddy
no, you're good.
bear on the hardest difficulty and try to fight him?
Oh yeah,
Bro, he will one shot you
Or-
with the Magnum headshot. Boom. Dude was
oh,
pro. He
yo,
was a pro player.
I'm telling you, that guy was.
I
I
never
could beat him.
got to
Beast.
play it. I tried.
I
You never
never
played
played it either.
Conker?
I have no idea what y'all talking about.
I've tried like
What? Oh man, we're gonna have to have a fair shake night and just
Don't
play
forget,
Conker's Bad
we
Fur
still
Day the whole
got that
time.
WrestleMania and
I
No
have that
Mercy
too.
still going on.
with Pokemon Stadium and
Talk.
Pokemon Snap.
Talk.
Oh,
Bro, I'm about to send you the pictures of the Golden Shrine.
to be honest,
How about you, Kev?
the game that got me like really into gaming, I would have to say I would have to agree with Chris. Pokemon. I was a spoiled little brat,
Yes, you
so
Really?
I used to get like everything that I wanted.
Yes, you were.
So I remember I had Pokemon. I had the Game Boy. I had the Game Boy Advance. I had all those. I ran through a lot of them because I used to, when I was young, I used to travel a lot back and forth from Puerto Rico, and I used to leave my Game Boys on the
Right.
plane. So my grandmother would always buy me another one.
My man, every little kid that her best dreams come true.
Yeah, I used to leave them on the plane. Another game, surprisingly, would have to be like Spyro for the
Oof.
PlayStation 1. Um, I love that
That's a
game.
classic.
Crash. I love Crash. The
Oh yeah,
little wizard running around like teasing you that used to drive me insane, bro. I think that's why I have anger issues to this day. So
That's why he told the guy that you could break every
yeah,
shoe out from the back.
that's the root of it. That's what made me who I am today.
That's what got you.
That's pretty much it.
Oh man, that's
Um,
funny.
There's a couple.
Fat, how about you?
Like I really didn't have like one system that really set it off. You know, when you get that first system,
Yeah.
that first system that you play until it finally dies. I didn't start with the first
yeah.
Nintendo. What I did start with, and there was two systems at the same time. I had the Super Nintendo, and my joint for the Super Nintendo was Donkey Kong Country. All three of them. I used to stay up late night with my
I
mom's,
remember that.
and we used to beat the whole game every weekend.
For real?
It's memorable.
that's the
And
best.
then, but what really got me into like
With moms?
these
Nice.
like high class games that I play now. My pops when he was into games. He owned a PlayStation 1, and we didn't have one. And he had.
Right.
I used to stay up watching him play Resident Evil and Metal Gear
Oh,
Solid,
yeah.
and Soul
Can you be
Calibur
my
before
dad?
it was Soul Calibur when it was called Soul Edge. Yeah, yeah.
For real?
And
But
Killer
I didn't
that's
even know
Instinct.
Super
that.
Nintendo. But he used to play all the
Yeah.
time, and my dad, if you meet him now, he's the type of person that you would have never figured he picked up a controller. And I used to watch him play, and I'm like, yo,
Wow.
this dude don't let me play nothing. I want to try. And then one day he got tired of me
Give me a
watching,
turn.
and he
But you ain't give me
he
no
handed over
pizza.
the PlayStation down. And from then on, when I started with Metal Gear and Resident Evil 2.
Those are some tough games to start with.
I agree.
Bro,
No,
I don't
that's
think I
hard.
ever beat a
Metal
Metal
Gear
Gear, bro.
1, that game is amazing. Even with the graphics it is, the storyline is just
Yeah.
even
Even like to this day, right?
Well, that's Metal Gear 1 on the PS1 because you got to play the
yeah.
SNES one.
There was two of them on that one, but if they were to
Which one was
remake
the
the
one?
one for the
Which one was the one
PlayStation,
that he goes?
I'll throw my money out right there and there.
Which one was the one that he goes? Snake, Snake.
That's all of them.
All of them.
That's
Starting
all of
with that
them.
one.
All of them?
Starting with that
That's
one.
all of them.
Yeah, bro. I never beat any of them, bro.
Me either.
I
Bum,
was
bum,
never that
bum,
good. I was
bum, bum, bum.
I was never that good.
I love them. I beat every single one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
But
Those
yeah,
are my
those the
favorite.
ones I started with.
For me, I'm never gonna forget. I was like 5, 6 years old, and I had mentioned this before in my prior group I was in. But my favorite, well, the game that got me into gaming was
Mm.
Super Street Fighter,
Yeah.
and specifically Super Street Fighter
Really?
2. Watching my uncle play, I was just like, oh man, like this is so fire. Like you see these guys, you know, and sure you can, and then Blanca with the charge. You know, I was,
I'm pretty sure you stay
bro,
up
you
all
don't
night
understand.
just
You don't
doing your
understand.
Got
impersonation.
them
I
down
was
pat,
I
bro.
was hooked to that to those games. Um I remember when mom bought us our first
Oh,
PlayStation
man.
1 and she had got me Final Fantasy 7. And I think this is one of those games that will forever hold the closest to my heart because that game essentially was like a big part of my childhood. Just being able to escape into something like that. Um I still think the first time I see Cloud get off the train is what gets me so hyped. I literally own that game on everything that I could physically get it on.
Mm.
It's even on my phone. No
Jeez.
exaggeration.
You need a
Um,
sponsorship.
so that being said, I would love to get a tattoo of maybe like the
Ooh.
Buster Sword or something. Like I've always wanted a Final Fantasy 7 tattoo. Cloud is my
Yeah.
favorite. Sephiroth, I think, is like one of the best antagonists of all time, but that's a conversation for another time. Um, but hearing Ryu say Hadouken was always like one of those things was like it was amazing. Gaming for me is always gonna be a part of my childhood, my life, my livelihood, my kids game. Everyone around me I know games. I play everything. So yeah. I think that's about it for what it comes for me in games.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, guys, what an amazing cast again. Yo, it was phenomenal. Fat, thank you for joining the group. You picked a good group to join, and we're gonna show these people, these viewers, these listeners, that the Fair Shake podcast is the podcast to be. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know, have a great night, have a great morning, get going. You got this. And ladies and gentlemen, goodbye.